Okay, so now we are in chapter 4.3. Okay, so now we are in chapter 4.3 and we're multiplying decimals and finding the circumference of a circle. So how do we multiply decimals? Well, multiplying decimals is similar to whole numbers. The only difference is that we place a decimal point in the product, or your answer. Step 1, you're going to multiply the decimals as though they are whole numbers. So follow the same steps as when you multiply your whole numbers together. Step 2, the decimal point in the product, or the answer, is placed so that the number of decimal points in the answer is equal to the sum of the number of decimal points in the factors. And we'll do example problems so we understand what they're saying. Okay, so here's the example. It says 0.7 times 0.9. So first we're going to line up our decimals. So let's just multiply these together like we normally do. So 0.7 times 0.9, well, 9 times 7 is 63. So you write down your 3, carry your 6. And then 0 times 9 is 0, add 6, and there's your 6. And then we're going to do the same thing. 0 times 7, 0. 0 times 0, 0. And then we add these together, and you have 0, 6, 3. Now, there is one decimal place in the first factor, one decimal place in the second factor. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So on my answer, I have to have 2 decimal places. So the answer would be 0.63. Here's another example. So we have 15.9 times 0.62. So 15.9 and then 0.62. And we're multiplying. So 9 times 2 is 18. Carry your 1. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. And then you repeat this. So 9 times 6, 54. Goes now underneath the 1. Carrying 5. 5 times 6 is 30. Plus 5 is 35. Carry the 3, and then 6 times 1 plus 3 is 9. And then 0. 0 times 9 is 0. 0 times 5 is 0. And 0 times 1 is 0. And then go ahead and add. So we have 8, 5, 8, 9, 0. Now, in the factors, or in the problem, there's one decimal place here, and there are 2 for the bottom number. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So we need 3 decimal places. So 1, 2, 3. So this answer is going to become 9.858. You can ignore the 0 in front of the 9. So again, there are a total of 3 decimal places in the problem. Therefore, in your answer, you must also have 3 decimal places. All right, another example, 0.648 times 0.5. So again, let's multiply. So first start with 8 times 5. And you should have 8240, and then go ahead and continue with the 0. So 0 times every number, and then add. Now in the problem there are 3 decimal places for the top number, so 3, and then for the bottom number 1 decimal place. So 3 plus 1 is 4. So in your answer, you need 4 decimal places. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 0.824. Or you can write your answer as 0.824. Now, multiplying decimals by power of tens. There are some patterns that occur when we multiply a number by a power of 10, such as 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, etc. When you multiply by powers of 10, the shortcut method is to move the decimal point to the right the same number of places as there are zeros in the power of 10. So move it to the right the same number of zeros as there are in the power of 10. So here's an example. It says 0.5 times 100. Well, how many zeros are in 100? There are 2 of them. Therefore, you're going to take your decimal and you move it 2 places to the right. So 1, 2. This is where your new decimal is. So now this number has become 50. What about multiplying the decimals by power of 10, such as 0.1 or 0.01 or 0.001? This time you're going to move the decimal to the left the same number of places as there are decimal places. So here is 0.06 times 0.01. Well, how many decimal places are in 0.01? 2 decimal places. So you're going to take the 0.06 and you're going to move it 2 decimal places to the left. So we have 1, 2. There's your new decimal. And put a 0 there. So now this has become 0.0006. Here are some more examples. So 76.543 times 10. There's only 1 0 in 10, so you move the decimal 1 place to the right. And your answer will now become 765.43. Same number, this time times 100. There are 2 zeros in 100, so move it 2 places to the right. And now you get 7,654.3. And the last one is 100,000, and it has 5 zeros. Now you move your decimal 5 places to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this number is going to become 7,654,300. More examples, this time multiplying by powers of 10, such as 0.01. Well, how many decimal places are in 0.01? There are 2 of them. So you're going to move this decimal 2 places now to the left. So now you have 0.581. There's 1 decimal place in 0.01. 0.1. There's 1 decimal place. So you move your decimal 1 place to the left. Now, if you do not see the decimal, it is at the end of your whole number. So there's our decimal. We're going to move it 1 place to the left. And now we have 8,562.4. And then the last one, this time we're going to multiply 24.106 times 100. Well, there are 2 zeros in 100. So we're going to move our decimal 2 places to the right. So if there's zeros, you go to the right. If it's decimal places, go to the left. So zeros to the right, so 1, 2. So now we have 2,410.6. Now the circumference of a circle. The distance around a polygon is called perimeter, and we know perimeter is just add up all the sides. So it's the sum of all sides. This is perimeter. Well, however, you cannot find the perimeter of a circle because there are no sides to a circle. So instead we call it the circumference. The circumference depends on the radius or the diameter of the circle. So formulas. There are two of them. The first one says circumference is equal to 2 pi times the radius. Pi is a symbol, and the radius is the distance halfway through the circle. And there's also a second formula, and it says circumference equals pi times diameter. Diameter is twice the radius, so it's the length through the entire circle. The formulas are written as C equals 2 pi r, and remember there's multiplication in between here, or C equals pi d, and again there's multiplication in between here. Now pi is a Greek symbol. It literally stands for pi, P-I. It is a number between 3 and 4, and the decimal has an approximation of 3.14. As a fraction, it is approximately 22 over 7. So here's an example. It says find the circumference of a circle whose radius is 4. Now because they gave us radius, we're going to use the formula that has radius in it. So C, circumference, equals 2 pi times the radius. So let's first start with the exact answer. The exact answer means leave pi there. So leave the pi in your exact answer. So circumference is going to become 2 times pi times the radius, and the radius is 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. So the exact answer is just written as 8 pi. And then an approximate answer. To get the approximate answer, you're going to replace pi with 3.14. So we had originally that the circumference was equal to 8 pi. Well, now we know pi is 3.14, so we're going to do 3.14 times 8. 4 times 8 is 32, carry the 3, leave 11, carry the 1, and it's 25. So remember there's 2 decimal places for the first factor, no decimal places for the 8. So in my answer I need to have 2 decimal places. So the answer is 25.12. So the exact answer is 8 pi. The approximate is 25.12. Here's another example. It says find the circumference of the circle. This time they gave us a figure, and it has 9.1 yards. Well, since this is halfway through the circle, this is the radius. So they gave you the radius, so we're going to use the formula that has the radius. So we have circumference equals 2 pi times radius. So that's 2 times pi. The radius is 9.1. So now we're going to do 2 times 9.1, and you should have 18.2. And then do not forget the pi is there. This is the exact answer. Now for the approximate answer, we're going to replace the pi with 3.14. So it's 18.2 times 3.14. And we can multiply. and then add, and you should have 57.148. Okay, let's go in our books to page 307, and we're going to look at number 49. And it says find the circumference of each circle, then use the approximate 3.14 for pi and approximate each circumference. So they want an exact answer and they also want an approximate answer. So in the problem they give us the figure. There's a circle, there's a line that goes through it, and it tells us 10 centimeters. Well, this 10 is the diameter of the circle. So they gave you the diameter, which is 10, and it's looking for the circumference, so we're going to use the formula that gives us diameter. So pi times d. So c is equal to pi times 10, which is just said as 10 pi. This is the exact answer. Now to get an approximate answer, you're going to replace the pi with 3.14. So now it's 10 times 3.14. Well, remember the trick of multiplying by powers of 10. There's one 0 in 10, so we're going to move the decimal one place to the right. And this is going to become 31.4. So the approximate answer is 31.4, and the exact answer is 10 pi. Okay, so this will conclude our video for 4.3. Please email me if you have any questions.